Entering the final lap of the regular season here in the Arena Lacrosse League in the East Division, it is the Whitby Steelhawks hosting the Peterborough Timbermen. A big game for one of these two teams. The Whitby Steelhawks, with an 11-2 record, have already locked up first place in the East Division, even if they were to lose here today. But for the Timbermen, it's been a rough Saturday. They started this morning off in third place with a 7-6 record, but unfortunately, today, you had the Riverwolves beat the Monarchs by a score of 11-10, meaning that Paris now has an 8-6 record and has jumped into that third place position. So a win by the Timbermen, they go back to third. A loss could see them drop to fourth. Heck, with the Six Nation Snipers playing tomorrow with a 7-6 record on the line, they could see themselves drop as far as fourth. The starting goaltenders today for the Peterborough Timbermen, it will be Jackson Hayner with a 1-2-0 record, a 14-20 goals against average, and a 782 save percentage. Lucas Coote is undefeated at the other end with an 8-0-0 record, currently coming in with a 987 goals against average and an 801 save percentage. Your officials for today's action is the crew chief in Mac Abbott, Brad Fennell, and Sebastien Baudouin will be the three officials. The Biscuit sits loose in front of the Timberman bench. It will be the Steelhawks, again, currently 6-0 at Children's Arena. Luke Keenan into the near corner. That's Sinfield with a low shot. It whistles wide. Numbers the other way. It'll be over and back, though, and Coote will allow this to roll to the end wall, where Gasparetti will pick up the loose change for the visiting Timbermen. The Timbermen coming off of an exciting 18-17 victory in overtime over the Toronto Monarchs back on last Saturday at the Toronto Rock Athletic Center. Trying to barge the door on Lucas Coote, but quickly transitioning back the other way. Highland scores! Man, the Torpedoes, 41 seconds into the game. And it is Highland opening up the scoring here for the Whitby Steelhawks. Steelhawks looking to respond after a tough 8-7 overtime loss to the Six Nation Snipers last Sunday. They blew a 7-2 lead in the third frame, being shut out over the final 31 minutes of play. And with 11:31 remaining in overtime, Ross Hill would score the overtime winner for the Snipers, who are currently on a 3-game winning streak. They'll play the Bears tomorrow. And as I mentioned before, a Timberman loss combined with a Six Nations win could see the jamboree, or the boggling, if you will, of the East Division standings right before the playoffs get that much more intense. As Hayner had to be sharp to his right side. The rebound sneaked loose, though. Now Whitby with the dunk attempt. Hayner stops it to his left side. The goalie stretches the floor up to Rodding. Rodding coming off of a 5-assist game in that 18-17 victory over the Monarchs. The Timbermen have 8 scratches in their lineup today in this pivotal matchup as Milligan goes into the teeth of the Steelhawks defense and passes it back to the Curtis, Ontario native in Woods. Woods trying to make a move around a fellow Woods, if you will, in Nate. Long pass back, just misses Lucas Coote. Loose change, bobbling it at mid-floor. This deflected off of Boiseno, but they're going to say it's over and back anyway, giving the Whitby Steelhawks the ball. Steelhawks averaging 16.6 goals per game so far this season and have an incredible plus 65 goal differential. They have the second highest offense in the league behind Brampton with 216 goals forward. Here's Devin Pfeiffer to a teammate. Open space, big set by Hayner. Rebounds there. It's so nice. Hayner's going to do it twice. McGregor was denied 2 times to make it a 2-0 lead. Gasparetti eventually touches the ball, though there was a delayed penalty coming up, and it looks like the Steelhawks are heading off to the power play here, just 2 minutes and 8 seconds into the game. The Timbermen penalty kill operating at 36%. The Steelhawks power play operating at 68% with the slashing penalty coming up here to Zach Thompson. So once again, the Steelhawks power play operating at 68%. Kiernan tried to shoot this low on Hayner, who had to be sharp. This was a power play, though, for the Steelhawks that at one point last week was operating as high as 83%. As you have Stone Jacobs, the Quebec native, slowing things down here on the penalty kill and kicking it back to Bafia. Bafia will crawl across the mid-floor here on the blue carpet of Children's Arena and give it to the near side. talking with his head coach, Joe Sullivan. He's joined by Brad Lyons on the Timbermen bench. Again, 8 scratches, and maybe more importantly, 2 goaltenders in Keegan Thomas and Ethan Robertson aren't available for the Timbermen, as well as Jack McAlpine, a massive weapon miss, leading the team in goals with 28 and having 72 points, averaging 5.5 points per game. Now the captain, and Osborne with the low shot, grabbed his own rebound. Where is it? Somehow it is the Timbermen calmly playing it, but not out. Kiernan keeps it in. A fresh 20 restored onto the clock for the Timbermen. Pfeiffer over to Osborne. Perimeter passing right now by the Steelhawks. They cut across. Osborne looking to give it back to Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer's shot is blocked by the defender, but he got it back. Pfeiffer to the teammate. The dunk shot. Hayner with a big stop. The Timbermen goaltender keeping his team in this early. They're only down 1-0, but all the pressure in the world's been on his end of the floor. A no-looker to Osborne. Osborne steps into this one. Stopped by Hayner. The rebound by Gasparetti is cleared out of the danger zone. 30 seconds remains on the power play for the Steelhawks. Gasparetti will roll this one back. And that will be Cam Milligan giving it back to Hartley. Milligan in the last game in that 18-17 victory of Toronto had 3 goals, 3 assists, and 6 points. He was one of 4 Timbermen to grab a hat trick. Jack McAlpine, Cam Milligan, Zach Thomas, and Aaron Woods all had 3 goals at least in that game. Now short-handed, an incredible effort by Hartley. He already grabbed a shot, grabbed his own rebound, essentially killed the last 30 seconds of that power play single-handedly, and the crowd here at Children's Arena applauds it. Now Cam Milligan, back to Woods, pitch and catch with Milligan. Milligan looking around at his options, but realized the clock is about to expire, and he's going to give it right back to the Whitby Steelhawks. Jordan Storos to his teammate fresh off the bench of McGregor. McGregor slicing and dicing his way into the Timbermen zone, looks to retreat this one back and does. That's Hannaran into the far side. McGregor looking to grab some separation, or I apologize, that's Keenan. Sinfield lost it on the dribble, so to speak, being harassed by Hendricks. McGregor has the ball snatched out of him by a fellow. That's some 42-on-42 violence, if you will. Stone Jacobs to a teammate who rips this off the crossbar. Now Jacobs with the shot denied by Lucas Coote. We remain a 1-0 game here from Children's Arena for the Whitby Steelhawks, who again have already locked up first place in the ALL East Division. In fact, you could say they're the best team in the ALL in general. As you look to the Shooting Eagles at West, they have a 9-2 record. So looking to add to their 1-0 lead, there's Pfeiffer, Devin Pfeiffer. You also have to think about Parker Pfeiffer. His brother is potentially your MVP after finishing today with 7 assists. He finishes his regular season with 104 points, 73 apples to lead the league in both of those categories. Thompson to a teammate off the bench, who quickly lasers it to the near side to Milligan. Milligan cuts into the floor, has a shooting lane, decides not to pull the trigger. Now gets stepped into by 2 Steelhawks, and Lucas Coote point blank denies Hartley. Coote looking to go up the floor. An interesting stat about Lucas Coote is that he enters today's game with 13 assists. There's 11 players on his team that don't have 13 points this season. Mind you, most of them belong to his defensive core. 8:48 remains here in the opening frame. A 1-0 game for the Whitby Steelhawks. There's Aaron Woods being watched by Owen Boyle. Coote with a big stop. The rebound's gone into the near corner, collected by the Timbermen. A fresh 20 put onto the shot clock. Taking a couple hacks to make the play back to his teammate. A pitch and catch between McNulty and Woods. Woods now into the corner. That's Milligan. Milligan trying to get some separation provided by Woods. Milligan shoots and scores! 1-1, courtesy of Cam Milligan, the Peterborough, Ontario native's 27th goal of the season. That's his 91st point. He leads the team in points with 91. Now here's the thing, though. He's second in the league coming into today's action with points with 90. Parker Pfeiffer, as I mentioned, added 7 more assists today. He has 104. So Milligan's only 13 points away in this game from potentially getting the league leadership. And heck, there's still plenty of lacrosse to be played here in Oshawa on your Saturday night. Rotting, fresh off the faceoff win, backdoors a teammate, Milligan looking for a second helping right off the cage of Lucas Coote. He makes 2 saves, denying Rotting after the rebound. 8 minutes remains here in the first frame. A 1-1 contest as Sinfield lost the ball into that far corner. McGregor goes to hunt after it. Him and Jordan Hendricks. Hendricks being stapled against the end wall by McGregor. Only 8 seconds left on the shot clock, so the Timbermen 3-on-1 style, content with just dribbling out the rest of this possession, and then they'll take over. I'm kind of surprised that the captain Osborne didn't try to go in there and help out his teammate McGregor, because there was literally about 10 seconds left on the possession clock when that 3-on-1 encounter began. So an over and back will give Crowley and the Steelhawks a chance to go down the floor. But before that happens, in a 1-1 game with 7:23 remaining here in the opening frame, the referees are calling for an H2O break. So we'll be back with more Arena Lacrosse League action after this. Welcome back to Children's Arena. Exciting 1-1 game to start your Saturday evening. It was Quinn Highland opening up the scoring 41 seconds into the game. And the Timbermen tied it up through Cam Milligan. Remember, for the Steelhawks, they've locked up first place in the ALL East, whereas the Timbermen came in today in 3rd place, but currently sit in 4th place after the 11-10 victory by the Riverwolves over the Monarchs earlier today, allowed Paris to increase their record to 8-6. However, if the Timbermen were to grab their 8th victory of the season, then they would tie the Paris Riverwolves and have the tiebreaker head-to-head. As Pfeiffer is denied, the rebound popped up into the sky. Sinfield trying to put his hand in the cookie jar. Couldn't get the shot on Hayner in time as the possession expires. Under 7 minutes to go here in the opening frame from Oshawa, Ontario. Again, the Timbermen with not necessarily a must-win situation, as all teams are going to make the playoffs, but as far as holding serve and having that home court advantage, if you will, a victory is a must. Storos over the mid-floor to a teammate fresh off the bench. That's Cameron York, who leaves it there for Owen Boyle. Boyle trying to get it back to York. York was harassed just enough that time from Scott Edwards, and the loose change picked up by Hayner, but then Hayner has his pocket pick, but there's a penalty coming up. He's going to scoot off to the bench for the extra attacker. Jordan Hendricks lost it, and as soon as Kiernan touches it at mid-floor, well, it will be the Steelhawks getting an interference penalty called against them. And it looks like Sinfield is going to head off to the sin bin for 2 or less. The Timbermen power play come into today operating at 62%. The penalty kill for the Steelhawks operating at 58%. As far as power play goals, watch out for the man at mid-floor. Cam Milligan has 11 power play goals. That's good for 2nd in the league. Woods into the corner. Perimeter passing on the power play. Thompson to Milligan. Milligan steps into this one and scores! Top cheddar, because it tastes better. And it's a 2-1 game, 10 seconds into the power play with Cam Milligan with a second helping. Milligan, as I mentioned before, already coming off of a 6-point game where he had 3 goals and 3 assists. The last time these two teams played each other, Milligan had 5 points, including 2 goals and 3 assists. Riley Morgan goes into the center of the floor. Morgan, by the way, scored the overtime winner in that victory over the Toronto Monarchs. In fact, the Monarchs actually forced overtime in that game, which is 27 seconds left. But Riley Morgan ended up being the overtime winner for the Peterborough Timbermen. So Pfeiffer gets a fortuitous bounce. Pfeiffer with a move, just shot it wide to the right side of Hayner. Now they're going to say this deflected off of, well, they're going to say actually nothing. And as a result, the Peterborough Timbermen get the possession of the biscuit back. So Thompson into the near corner to Milligan, who's already got 2 goals in this game. Beautiful pass and a no looking from behind from Hartley. Oh, that would have been a thing of beauty. 5:27 remains here in the opening frame. A 2-1 game courtesy of Cam Milligan's 2 goals. Now Goodchild looking around for a teammate. His pass is shut off, though, by Jordan Hendricks. And now turning the tide the other way is Joe Sullivan's crew. Joe Sullivan, by the way, was a 2012 NLL Coach of the Year with the Minnesota Swarm. And you have to remember, won a Minto Cup with the Peterborough Maulers back in 1989. Under 5 to go, trying to cut their way through the crease with Perron. Now Woods with space. Coote says no. And now, this hot potato ball does not want to settle down for the Steelhawks. Eventually, Boiseno does give it to Highland, who did open up the scoring 41 seconds into this game. So now fresh troops off the bench for Ryan Daggerton and the Steelhawks. Orpana providing a screen that time for Kiernan. His pass a little too hot to handle for the captain, and Osborne goes into the Peterborough bench, and the Timbermen will take over. So again, both these two teams coming off of overtime games. It's the Steelhawks, though, they're coming off of the loss 8-7. The Timbermen coming off of an 18-17 win. Cam Milligan, already 2 goals in this contest. Looking for the hat trick here. Oh, my word. Blinking, you would have missed this one. But Coote somehow denied it. That caught him up high, too. I don't know if in the cage or in the net protector. As now things are getting physical. 2-on-1 the other way. Little give and go. Oh, my word. Lucas Coote with robbery that time. I believe that was Jeff McNulty. He had a 2-on-1 opportunity with Woods. They worked it to perfection, but Coote read it perfectly, and as a result, we remain a 2-1 game. A very low-scoring affair so far here on your Saturday evening, yet tons of action on both ends of the blue floor. Cameron York steps into this one. Hayner with the stop, but Cameron York gobbles up his own rebound. A fresh 20 goes back onto the clock. Out of the near half wall, it's Sinfield to Boiseno. Boiseno to the far side to Osborne. Osborne, nice pass to Cameron York. And Hayner again with a huge save. Hayner came into this game with a 1-2-0 record and a 14-26 goals against average. And taking a hit to make the play up to Stone Jacobs. Jacobs into the Steelhawks zone. Jacobs puts on the brakes. Jacobs with the shot denied by the Whitby goaltender. Lucas Coote, again, a perfect 8-0-0, trying to finish his season undefeated at 9-0. Came in with a .987 goals against average. As Owen Boyle waits for the pieces on the chessboard to set up, so to speak. Finds Hannaran, who goes to the far half wall to the captain and Osborne. Now crawling out of the corner is McGregor. McGregor spun around, and Hayner made the stop. Now I think they're going to call a crease violation, though, on McGregor, even if he had somehow tickled the twine. So Aaron Woods, remember him and McNulty had a little 2-on-1 earlier that was denied. Woods elected to pass the ball. Let's see what he does on this possession. He gives it back to Hartley. Hartley over to the far side now. That's Rodding. Rodding coming off of a 5-assist game. Gives this to Woods. Woods, nice move. Just whistles it wide to the left side of Coote. It ricochets off of the HVAC unit here at Children's Arena. And now it will be the Steelhawks looking to tie this thing up with 2:12 remaining in the opening frame. Nate Woods, the Ottawa, Ontario native, gives it to Kiernan. Kiernan to Keenan. Luke Keenan thought about stepping into this one, and he does! 2-2 as Luke Keenan tickles the twine. That's a gentleman that went to Princeton, very fancy, and dabbled in both hockey and lacrosse. He would have benefited, too, from the recent changes between the CHL and the NCAA. I know the Oshawa Generals were trying to hunt him down, but obviously he elected to go the NCAA route, ended up going to Princeton and being a 2-sport athlete. But I wonder if things would have lined up differently with the new rules, knowing that he could have played in the OHL and still had an opportunity to go collegiately down south. So 2-2 with 2:01 remaining in the opening frame. Right off the ensuing face-off, it's a lacrosse symphony as Woods is thrown down to the floor. The officials are going to give Whitby the ball back. Sinfield looking to take advantage of it. Gave it to Piper. Piper back to Sinfield. Right off the noggin that time of Hayner. It's safe to say he saw that one. So a $1:47 remains here in the opening frame. Owen Boyle to the far side. Trying to make a move is Piper. Piper with a low pass to his teammate behind the net of Hayner, who crawls out from that far corner. And that hit the best friend dressed in red for Hayner's right side. Boyle over to that far wall. That's Hannaran. Sinfield with space, and he scores! Landon Sinfield gives the Whitby Steelhawks their first taste of the lead here with a $1:23 remaining in the opening frame. And again, coming off of that last loss to the Six Nations Snipers, talking with the head coach and Coach Daggerton and his assistant coaches in Brad Reed, how do you stay calm in a situation where you've already locked up first place, but, you want to stay sharp before the postseason kicks off? But you're coming off of that loss where you had a 7-2 lead. You end up losing 8-7 in overtime. You want to be responding in the next game. And you know what? They were finding themselves down 2-1, and now they have a 3-2 lead as we're about to enter the final minute of play here in the first of 4 frames. So Perrant trying to get around Liam Osborne. Kicks this back to Milligan. Milligan with a long shot. Thrown down to his keister is Lucas Coote, and he kept it out in a sprawl. So Highland through mid-floor to Kiernan. Kiernan 360ing off of the defender, and Stone Jacobs finds some space, cuts on in. Hayner with the stop, but a crease violation gives Peterborough the ball back. It'll be Bafia coming out of that far corner. Has Edwards up the floor, but directs Edwards to the right side. Bafia's going to give it to his captain instead, and Milligan. Milligan into that far corner in the Steelhawks zone. 23 seconds to go in the opening frame. Timbermen would love to tie this game up before our first break. And now it's Milligan, already 2 goals in this game. Feathers a pass back door. Hartley couldn't handle it. Where is it? It's behind Lucas Coote. The dunk attempt just misses, and now with 7 seconds left, up the floor, it's Storos. He scores! With 3.9 seconds left on the clock, the Steelhawks have a 4-2 lead. Jordan Storos was, I'm not going to call it cherry picking, but all by himself in the Timberman zone. As soon as Lucas Coote and the Steelhawks defense was able to collect it, they made no doubts about it to rush it up to him. And he had only the goalie to beat. And Jordan Storos, with 3.9 seconds left, makes it a 4-2 game. So Boisano grabs it, and that does it for the opening 15 minutes of Arena Lacrosse League action from Oshawa, Ontario on your Saturday evening. It is the Whitby Steelhawks with 4 goals, Cam Milligan with 2 in a 4-2 game. We'll be back with the second frame after this. Welcome back to Children's Arena. It's a 4-2 lead for the Whitby Steelhawks after the opening 15 minutes of play. Quinn Highland scored 41 seconds into the game to give Whitby a quick 1-0 lead. Cam Milligan scored twice to make it a 2-1 game for the Timbermen. But then Luke Keenan tied us up at 2s. Landon Sinfield would get the lead to make it 3-2. And then with 3.9 seconds left in the opening frame, Jordan Storos would make it a 4-2 game. And as I mentioned before, this is a huge game for the Timbermen as the ball is maraudered away from Riley Morgan. The goalie and Hayner laying down some lumber. And in fact, the goalie not only laid down a hit, he knocked the shoe right off of a Steelhawk that time in Sinfield. The Steelhawks do get possession of the rock, though, here in the opening minute of the second frame. An inadvertent elbow sent into the jaw that time of Sands will give Peterborough the ball back. And now Gasparetti puts on the brakes in the Steelhawks zone. Goes into the slot to Woods. Low shot, misses the net. And now a chance the other way for the Steelhawks, but the ball will not cooperate for Highland. Highland eventually corrals it. Highland goes low and scores! Where there's a will, there's a way. Highland with his second goal of the game, but you go back to the mid-floor action. There was a potential 2-on-1 that was about to break out. Highland couldn't control the rock. When he eventually settled the hot potato down, he decided, maybe I'm the best option. He goes into the zone, fires it behind Hayner, and now you got a 5-2 game for the Steelhawks. Hayner came into this game with a 1-2-0 record, a 14-20 goals against average, and a .782 save percentage. Crowley gives it to Perroni. Perroni cocks it back, tried to find Hannaran. The pass missed him, but the ball bounces right back into the favor of Crowley and the Steelhawks. Personnel changes going on for Ryan Daggerton's group. Owen Boyle to Owen Orpana. The Owens working together. Orpana dipping around Edwards. Orpana trying to go behind the net this time and does. Finds his teammate. McGregor has to put an odd angle shot towards the net. It actually got blocked that time from Angus Rotting. and it will give the Timbermen fresh possession. DeBron, who leads the team in penalty minutes, taking a whack on Rotting. Rotting spinning away into open zone. That's Woods, I believe. Woods trying to come out of the far corner, watched fiercely by Boisano. Stepping into this one, Coote with the save, McNulty with the laser beam. 2-on-2 up the floor the other way. Osborne off the post. Back and forth we go from Children's Arena. It's Hartley crossing the floor to Woods, into the corner to Milligan. Milligan surveying the situation, getting away from Boisano. Tried to go to this far corner, not being able to handle the pass right away, but now settling it down is Thompson. Thompson trying to get it back to Woods. 12 seconds left on possession. It's in the crease, laying down, and Coote will calmly play it up the floor. Again, Lucas Coote coming into this game with 13 assists. That's 11 players on his team that don't even have 13 points. Now, mind you, most of them are defensemen and transitional players. As Hayner had to be sharp this time, that was McGregor being denied. McGregor wanting the ball back from Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer didn't see him. He's hammered by Edwards along the ball. Flips it back to McGregor. McGregor, nice spin move. Tried to go 5-0 on Hayner, who denies him. Hayner stretches the floor. Trying to grab this on the bounce is Edwards. Edwards just has to pitchfork it further into the Whitby zone. And Coote with a nice little bounce pass to his assistant captain in Hamley, who in turn gives it to Crowley and has Orpana fresh off the bench. Zigzagging on the blue carpet right now are the Steelhawks. Pfeiffer looking around, crawling down the near side. Pfeiffer finding a seam, didn't want to pull the trigger though. On the bouncer, that's Kiernan with the no-looker. Orpana with the shot, just missed Hayner. McGregor again, or that was Kiernan, I apologize, had a wide open backdoor pass, but didn't handle the rock. Now Jordan Hendricks, harassed by Boisano, bulldozes his way into the Steelhawk zone. It's McNulty, or I apologize, yeah, that is McNulty, back to Milligan, into the far corner to Thompson. Thompson looking to get some freedom here. As Thompson to the far side now to Woods. Woods through the legs and scores! Roll the highlight film. Aaron Woods with a little flash of style. 11:22 remains here in the first half. His team's trailing by 3. And instead of going with the safe bet, he gets a little trickery and goes backdoor between the legs and throws it behind Lucas Coote. And now it's a 5-3 game. Not a surprise from Aaron Woods, the Curtis, Ontario native, who's a 3-time Meredith Cup champion from 2011, 2012, and 2016. He signed as an unrestricted free agent back on December 6th of last year with the Toronto Rock. So Osborne carries it into the zone. Milligan, great give and go with Rotting, and they score! Back-to-back jacks by the Timbermen here in the second. It brought them within 1 with 11:06 remaining in the first half. And as I mentioned before, a huge game for the Timbermen. Earlier today, the Paris Riverwolves beat the Toronto Monarchs by a score of 11-10. Paris is now 8-6, meaning that the Timbermen need to win this game in order to hold serve and to maintain third place before the playoffs. Milligan to Rotting. We almost got deja vu all over again. Now Gasparetti back to Milligan, goes low. Lucas Coote diving around. The ball, though, bouncing in Whitby's favor. Osborne and Pfeiffer. Osborne to the trailer, and Woods. Nate Woods, the Ottawa native, is denied. Hayner pretty much went into the splits and denied the 5-0 opportunity as his team still trails by 1. Stone Jacobs bounces this back to Aaron Woods. Woods to Hartley, watched by the captain and Osborne. Out of the corner is Thompson. That's Perron from Thompson, and they score. Wait, no, they're calling it off from a crease violation, I suppose. That was awfully quick. Peterborough was celebrating, and now the other way, Hayner had to be sharp. Now, again, we don't get the benefit of replay here on your Saturday evening. Lucas Coote was beaten. You know, Timbermen were celebrating as a 5-5 game, but I think the official in Brad Fennell signaled that there was a crease violation. But you can feel the momentum on the side of the Timbermen right now as Hartley just misses this one wide on the left side. Woods gobbles up the rebound. Woods, watched by DeBron. Woods, now sandwiched by two Steelhawks, and the ball is maraudered away. And then Woods takes a chop in the face. Mark DeBron, who already led the team in penalty minutes with 46 coming into today's action, got caught with a retaliatory penalty on Woods. He's going to head off to the penalty box. And down by one, the Timbermen have a golden opportunity to tie things up here with 9:52 remaining in the second frame. So an illegal cross-checking penalty called to the Steelhawks. The Timbermen, as I mentioned before, a 62% power play coming into today's action. The penalty kill for the Steelhawks operating at 58%. It will be Milligan, who's already got 2 goals in this game. That's 28 on the campaign, leading his team on the power play with 11 goals. Milligan to Thompson. Milligan to the far corner to Woods. Woods behind the net. McNulty thought about pulling the trigger and says, Thompson going low, and he scores! Zach Thompson, the Orangeville, Ontario native, has his 23rd goal of the season. This is a guy that played in a Division III national championship, averaging 4.6 points per game. He came in with 9 power play goals today. Give him 10 and counting. So a 5-5 game from Children's Arena, the second power play goal of the game scored by the Timbermen. As back to the middle of the floor, it's Riley Morgan and Boiseneau. Morgan with a dangerous slash at the rock, but it is Boiseneau and the Steelhawks taking over. Boiseneau tries to go high, shoulder shrugging this one away is Hayner. Numbers the other way for the Timbermen, led by Edwards. Edwards pulls the trigger, and he scores! A nylon ripper from Edwards as he steps into this one, and now the Timbermen have a 6-5 lead. You could just feel over the last 3 minutes of action that the momentum certainly has been brewing and gaining momentum on the boys in red and navy blue trim. And as a result here, with 9:13 remaining before the halftime break, after Sam Perrant and Angus Rotting scored, now the Timbermen have a lead. So Woods trying to respond quickly here for the Steelhawks. Remember, this is a Steelhawks team that is coming off of their second loss of the season, a game they were leading 7-2 in the third period and ended up losing 8-7 in overtime, courtesy of Ross Hill in the Six Nations Snipers. 9 minutes remains here in the opening frame. A little give and go. Cameron York, no, that's Kiernan. Kiernan with a no-looker, then just trying to slash at it that time. As Hayner is thrown down, and they're going to say this one counts. I don't know. Now remember, in lacrosse, if the goalie moves the net, it's his responsibility and obligation to move the net back, and the official's discretion as to whether that net was properly angled when the shot went in. Well, the officials say everything's good, although you see on the near side here, it's Sebastian Bourdin having an intimate conversation with Osborne. That's Sean Osborne heading off to the bench. He's going to relay that message to Joe Sullivan. Lost in all of it, though. It's a 6-6 game now, as the officials were about to drop the ball. Hayner is still putting his equipment together after being, well, thrown down to the blue carpet after that last goal by the Steelhawks. So what a game. Quinn Highland opened up the scoring 41 seconds in. Cam Milligan scores twice. Then the Steelhawks go on a 4-goal run. The Timbermen then respond with a 4-goal run of their own. And man, oh man, Hayner probably wants that last one back. It's a 6-6 game now with 8:35 remaining in the opening half of play. Owen Orpana looks to find a seam, and he scores! Owen Orpana, his team averages 16.6 goals per game. They have an incredible plus 65 goals differential coming into today's game. And now it's a 7-6 contest. Man, oh man, was this not like a 2-1 game with about 2 minutes remaining in the first? It was defensive. There was lots of action. The floodgates have certainly opened on both ends of the blue carpet as now we got a combined 13 goals on the board. So Morgan loses this face-off to Boiseno. Woods right off of the draw into Timbermen's zone, takes the low shot, off of the wall, off of Hayner, and it still stayed out. Out of that far corner, they're going to say an illegal pick was thrown down by Nate Woods, which gives the Timbermen possession. So talk about a game of runs. As I mentioned before, after Cam Milligan's 2 goals, Whitby would score 4 straight. The Timbermen then scored 4 straight. Cameron York was credited for that last goal behind Hayner, as Lucas Coote kept this out. Remember, Coote is looking to end his regular season undefeated. If he grabs the victory here today, he'll finish the season with a 9-0-0 record. DeBron takes a bit of a slash on the ankle to give it to Cameron York in front of his bench. Into the corner, trying to skip to my Lou, if you will. McGregor, nice move, and they score. I apologize, that's Luke Kiernan. Or Brady Kiernan, I better get everything straightened out here. Brady Kiernan makes it an 8-6 game for the Steelhawks. There was a delayed penalty coming up on that play, but with Kiernan scoring the goal, that negates the penalty. And now we have an 8-6 contest with 7:40 remaining here on the second quarter clock. Every time I look down to see who scored the last goal, another goal is being scored. It's been that kind of game here in the second frame. As Hartley gives it back to Woods. Woods underhands it. Stone Jacobs into the slot, takes the shot wide on the right side of Coote. Now Woods scores! Aaron Woods, the Curtis, Ontario native, with his second goal of the game, 8-7. As for Woods, he came into this game averaging 4.5 points per game and 21 goals on the season, so give him 22 now on the year. And we just keep on going back and forth, back and forth. It's almost like a tennis match right now between these two teams. Boiseno was trying to find Nate Woods. It's Sinfield again trying to find Nate Woods. They're going to say this one hit off of the back wall over the end wall. So there's no protective meshing. And the Steelhawks are complaining that, no, they hit the top of the boards. But the official's saying, no, it hit the wall here at Children's Arena. So that does give us, finally, I'm going to grab some oxygen here, folks, a brief pause in play with 7:06 remaining before halftime here from Children's Arena in an 8-7 game. Woo! Welcome back to Children's Arena. It's an 8-7 contest with 7:06 remaining here in the second frame. Again, Quinn Highland opened up the scoring here, folks. 41 seconds into the game, Cam Milligan scored twice to make it 2-1 for the Timbermen. The Steelhawks would score 4 straight to make it a 5-2 game. Then the Timbermen would score 4 straight of their own to make it 6-5. Whitby would respond with 3 straight goals, and Aaron Woods just grabbed his second goal of the game to make it an 8-7 contest. 6:40 remains on the clock. Getting thrown down to the turf in the near corner is Woods, I apologize. No, that's Boiseno. Boiseno out of the corner. Huge save by Hayner. As Owen Orpana spills down to the floor in that far corner, being watched by Clint Lewis. Clint Lewis trying to put his hand in the cookie jar. Somehow the ball continues to be moving around, and now Owen Orpana is being held up high by Edwards, and now we get some rough stuff in the far corner of the Timbermen zone. What's funny is, as that was going on, I briefly looked over and Hayner was giving a hug to McGregor. So while there was some hate being displayed, there was also some love being shown between these two teams. I don't know if that was a sarcastic hug. They obviously know each other from previous lacrosse experiences. But that was interesting. It looked like we might get into a little bit of a brouhaha in that far corner between Edwards and Orpana, as Edwards is actually not the one heading off to the penalty box, though. That'll be, I think, Jeff McNulty. Hard to make out the numbers here with the mesh screen around the Children's Arena, well-lit arena. The power play going back to work for the Steelhawks. Again, coming into this game operating at 68%, but a power play that was operating as high as 83%. Piper's shot misses wide and it hits the end wall. This will be over and back, so Milligan, short-handed and on the hat trick watch, will take over with 6:05 remaining in the second. Milligan into the slot to Thompson. Thompson trying to go low. This deflects off of the Steelhawk, though, and Brady Kiernan. At mid-floor, the captain and Liam Osborne calms the situation down. 90 seconds remains on the power play. His team having a 1-goal lead. Pfeiffer to the far side. Pitch and catch with Brady Kiernan. Pfeiffer from Kiernan. Pfeiffer fake the shot. Kiernan high slot. Back to Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer goes low and scores. Pfeiffer and Kiernan worked it back and forth. You knew one of them was eventually going to shoot it, and Pfeiffer does. And as a result, it's another power play goal for the Steelhawks, and they have a 9-7 lead. Interesting, the Steelhawks are coming off of a game they lost 8-7 over 60-plus minutes of play. That game went to overtime, and here they have a 9-7 lead, and we haven't even hit the halfway mark. So Morgan and Peroni battle it out at mid-floor. It will be Milligan helping out Morgan to grab the face-off win in favor of the Timbermen. So Devin Pfeiffer grabs the goal. It's the first goal of the game for Devin Pfeiffer. That's his 30th of the season and his 87th point of the year. Lucas Coote just got a piece of this one. A fresh 20 goes back onto the possession for the Timbermen. Hartley runs towards the net, but Rodding decides to go to that far side instead. It's Perrant. Perrant scores! Went around the defense, found a slot, went right on the attack and put it behind Lucas Coote. It's a 9-8 game. And again, only 6 goals featured in that opening frame. When you consider that Storos ended up scoring with 3.9 seconds left in it, a little shocker that now we've had 10 goals between these two teams a frame later. And what a great play by Perrant to come out of that far corner, essentially went around the world basketball style, around the entire key, if you will, of the defense. Found that slot, as I mentioned, then went northbound towards the goaltender. Now Hayner sort of olays this one, but now the dunk attempt and they score! Nate Woods on the wraparound to the left side of Hayner. It's his 26th goal of the season, and now it's a 10-8 game. Somebody break out the oxygen tank, because every time one of these teams scores, the other team somehow gets a breath of fresh air underneath their sneakers and goes down the floor to do more damage. We're in store for a 30-28 game at this point, the way these two teams are firing the biscuit behind these two goaltenders. As Sinfield looks to continue that trajectory as he gives it back to Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer with 4:27 left in the period. To Osborne, stopped by Hayner. Hayner is then ran into by Osborne. I don't think the captain meant to. Stone Jacobs going to give him a bit of a talking to, but nothing more comes out of this one. Hayner appears to be okay. And with 4:21, a little interference on the goaltender by the captain of the Steelhawks should put the Timbermen back to a power play down by 2. And again, these two teams played each other back on Friday, January 24th. So the Steelhawks ended up winning that game by a score of 17-13. Whitby would outshoot Peterborough 21-13 in the opening frame, but see the Timbermen actually leading that contest 5-4. The Steelhawks would respond with a 6-goal second frame to take a 10-6 lead at halftime. Peterborough fought back in the second half, even tying the game 13-13 in the fourth, before 4 straight by the Steelhawks made it a 17-13 final. As Milligan scores! That's the hat trick for the captain, Milligan. now got 29 goals on the campaign. He's averaged 6.9 points per game. And again, he came in currently leading the league, or second in the league, I should say, in points with 90. Second in the league with assists with 64. Second in the league with power play goals with 11. So Stone Jacobs, fresh off the faceoff, win, scores! Oh my word. 1 second, there's a goal. The next second, there's a goal. What are we doing here from Children's Arena? No offense to both goaltenders and Hayner and Coote, but you might as well have Benny Barnyard up there. Stapled to the posts. 4 minutes remains here in the opening half. 20 goals on the board between these two teams. You would think one of these teams would want to save some offense with the postseason looming. As Woods is denied a hat trick this time from Lucas Coote. Off of the Lucas Coote save, Storos, who scored with 3.9 seconds remaining in the opening frame. We're getting too many men on the floor called right now by the Whitby Steelhawks as they were transitioning the other way. So just after a power play goal, which was then followed up by a Stone Jacobs goal, we're getting a too many men on the floor penalty, which will give the Timbermen advantage in this game, tied 10-10. Oh my word. A 10-10 game in the second frame. I know my cameraman, Donald Beatty, can't get enough of the ALL goal-scoring action. As Milligan will go to Woods. In turn, Perrant, back to Woods, back to Milligan. It's Woods to Thompson. Thompson in the slot, a no-looker. Milligan at the top of the world, looking for number 4, maybe. Instead, he shares it to McNulty, who scores. Another power play goal by the Timbermen, their third of the game. Or I apologize, their fourth power play goal of the game. This one only took them 24 seconds to capitalize, while the Steelhawks had too many men on a transition where they were going back on the offense. And man, oh man, you can't make those kind of mistakes with the playoffs literally on the other side. It's an 11-10 game for the Timbermen. What's that old saying? The offense sells you tickets, the defense wins you championships. Well, there's no championship on the line today, safe to say, between these two teams in their last game of the regular season. But the fans at Children's Arena are certainly getting their fill because there's been plenty of offense. 3:05 remaining before the halftime break. Thompson from Rotting. Lucas Coote back to being sharp. Tries to launch this up the floor to Nate Woods. Woods, though, has it directly go off the shaft of his stick and back into the lap of Hayner. Hayner to Stone Jacobs, who has scored a goal in this frame for the Timbermen. Milligan being pressured at mid-floor. Stays in the Steelhawks zone. Takes a bump from Osborne to make the play to Thompson. Thompson has the ball commandeered away from Lucas Coote. Coote up the floor to Osborne. Osborne has a man. He's going to 360 and throw this one back. So daggered in, and the Steelhawks will let this offensive play set up with 15 seconds left on possession. That's Brady Kiernan. Behind the net to Cameron York. Cameron York to Kiernan. Hayner with the stop. The rebound's there. How did that stay out? Owen Boyle with the no-looker over the back shoulder, and I think Hayner off of his keister. That might have caught his stick or a shoulder. Somehow it didn't ripple to twine. And maybe now they're saying a crease violation. They're saying McGregor on the near side had his toenail in there, and as a result, that goal won't count. And honestly, after 21 goals in the opening half of this game, I'm having a little PTSD thinking that the mesh is rippling on every shot now. Thompson trying to go low. Coote might have got a piece of that one to his right side. 3-on-2 at mid-floor, but barring it down is Thompson. Thompson with a bouncer denied by Coote. Thompson absolutely filled in by Cody Hamley at the end of the play. Oh no. Thompson not only took a mean hit after releasing that shot, but my main worry is his head bouncing off of the carpet after taking that hit. 89 seconds remains at the half. Thompson, like a James Bond martini, shaken, not stirred, will go off to the bench on his own accord. But we'll have to keep an eye on that because there was definitely some whiplash at the end of that hit off of the floor. Now, there wasn't any penalty to be called out of that, but I believe a timeout is called here, and as a result, we'll take a brief pause in action. It's an 11-10 game from Children's Arena. Welcome back to Children's Arena. The Timbermen have scored the last 3 goals of the 21 put on the board, and as a result have an 11-10 lead. It was Jeff McNulty scoring the last one, Stone Jacobs before that, and Cam Milligan already grabbing a hat trick in this game in the opening half. Milligan now has 29 goals and over 93 points on the season. So 5-on-5 lacrosse with the Timbermen in the Steelhawks zone. 10 seconds left on possession. Milligan just had the pass from McNulty elude him. Now Woods in the dying seconds tries to throw this one back. Having this slashed out of his hands though is Hartley from Peroni, and the shot clock will expire on the Timbermen. So Peroni up the floor to Boisenu, who cuts in to Brady Kiernan. Kiernan's going to direct traffic as some fresher legs are going to come off of the Steelhawk bench. Under a minute to go here in the opening half. Cutting into the slot, that time was Keenan. Luke Keenan into the far corner. That's Brady Kiernan. Kiernan now spinning off the defender. Low shot misses well wide of Hayner, and this one's going to bounce over and back. A chance the other way, though, for Bafia. Bafia stopped by Lucas Coote. He had that top corner labeled, and Coote's right shoulder denied it. 30 seconds remains here in the opening half. Osborne going toe-to-toe. He'll be denied by Hayner. Osborne collects his own rebound, though. And they're going to say he had an illegal push-off before grabbing that ball. The officials blew the whistle. Oh, there's a timeout called here. I believe that's Coach Daggerton wanted to take advantage of this potential final possession here in the opening half. Still lots more lacrosse here in the Arena Lacrosse League's East Division, but we'll be back after this brief timeout. 23.1 seconds remains in the opening half. After the Ryan Daggerton timeout, the Steelhawks look to go to work here with their offense and potentially tie this game up before halftime. Lucas Coote still in the pipes. It's 5-on-5 lacrosse for now, but Coote slowly starts to walk out from his crease. 14 seconds left as Keenan gives it to Owen Orpana. Orpana now to Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer into the slot, moves off to that right side, being watched by Stone Jacobs. Go over to Osborne. Osborne cutting in, denied by Hayner. Hayner literally fell back on. He's holding himself up right now with the crossbar. He fell back into the net. Talk about the desperation efforts needed by Hayner. He's being applauded by his teammates, and rightfully so. He had several highlight saves in that opening 30 minutes of play. 21 goals on the board. The Timbermen lead by 1. It's an 11-10 game. Oh, yeah. We still got a second half of this game to go, and we'll have that on the other side of this break. Welcome back to Children's Arena here in the Arena Lacrosse League's East Division. It's the final game of the regular season for both the Whitby Steelhawks, who currently are trailing 11-10 to the Peterborough Timbermen, who are also playing in their final game of the regular season. The Timbermen being led by Cam Milligan, who's got 6 points in this game, including a hat trick. But it's the Steelhawks looking to tie this thing up within seconds of the second half. Milligan, by the way, with his 6 points and counting, now has 96 points on the season. Now remember, Parker Pfeiffer that is, finished today with 7 assists. That's 104 points for 73 assists to lead the league in both of those categories. All critics would assume, as Sinfield is heading off to the penalty box for 2 or less for holding, that's the second trip to the sin bin for Sinfield in this game. But again, going back to my point, all critics here in the ALL are saying that Parker Pfeiffer should be your league MVP with his 104 points and 73 assists. For Cam Milligan, though, he could, if he has an insane second half, put a bit of a quandary into that equation, though. When you consider that he does have 96 points currently, that means he needs 8 more points in this second half to come within tying Parker Pfeiffer. He'll no-look this one to Woods. Woods into the armpit, if you will, of Coote, who shuts it down. The 6-hole, you would call that in hockey. Coote tries to extend this up to the Hamley. Now, Coote, by the way, grabbed 1 assist on those 10 goals in that opening half, meaning that now is 14 assists. So 14 points is more than 11 of his teammates. I know people are tired of me hearing me saying that, but again, those 11 teammates mainly transition and his defensive core. As we're 40 seconds into the power play, a minute into this third frame, Woods on the near side, back to Milligan, gives it over to Zach Thompson, Thompson to Woods. No, the pass got intercepted, and now short-handed, 2-on-3, Nate Woods is denied by Hayner, and that's the guy you want if you're the Steelhawks. Here he has 5 short-handed goals to lead the league coming into today's game. And by the way, 2 out of the 3 goals by Cam Milligan in the opening half were power play markers, as Hayner is denied point blank on Boiseno. But yeah, Milligan's 2 out of his 3 goals were power play markers, meaning that he has 13 power play goals. That is the league leader. Jake McNabb for the Brampton Express had 12. He failed to score a power play goal today, meaning the only person that could really catch him if he scores 2 or 3 power play goals in this final half would be Devin Pfeiffer. Woods on the sharp angle, denied by Coote, and now exploiting with his speed is Osborne, the captain. Captain trying to go coast to coast, and he scores! Oh, captain, my captain, short-handed, ties this thing up at 11. Man, oh man, Osborne gathered that ball in his defensive zone in the high slot. He turned on the jets, if you will, turboed his way all the way into the Timbermen zone, and then blew it by Hayner. It's a short-handed marker that draws us to 11-11 here, 2 minutes and 3 seconds into the second frame, or second half, I should say. So Woods, with only 8 seconds left on the power play, looks to step into this. Storos just bothered him enough as the shot whistled wide to the right side. Now, again, using his speed. This time it was Crowley, but his shot went wide on the right side of Hayner. That was almost a deja vu play of what Osborne just accomplished earlier to tie this game up at 11-11. Now remember, lost in all of this, the Whitby Steelhawks have already locked up first place in the ALL East. Even if they were to lose today's game, Brampton grabbed a victory earlier today over the Oshawa Outlaws for their 10th victory of the season, but they mathematically will not be able to catch up to the Whitby Steelhawks. But for the Timbermen, they woke up this morning in 3rd place, but entered this game in 4th place after an 11-10 victory by the Paris Riverwolves over the Toronto Monarchs earlier today. The Paris Riverwolves finished their regular season with an 8-6 record, meaning that the Timbermen, entering with their 7-6 record, temporarily dropped down to 4th place. A victory here today puts them back in 3rd. However, a loss, coupled with a Six Nations Snipers victory tomorrow over the Oswego Bears, could see the Timbermen fall down a couple places before the playoffs even begin. 11:44 remains here in the 3rd frame. The Steelhawks with 14 seconds left on the shot clock. Orpana with the low shot. Hayner spinning around in his crease, and the ball stayed out. Timberman tried to extend it up the floor to Bafia, but it missed Bafia and into the lap of Lucas Coote. Coote to Owen Boyle, back to Owen Orpana. Orpana to Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer! They're going to say it was pulled off of the line. That Hayner just got a piece of it. So did the post. The ball was spinning around like a bottle top right on the goal line. And it's got to completely cross that line, mind you. But from our angle, it was awfully close, as this bouncing shot is whistled wide to Coote's left side. And now numbers the other way for the Steelhawks if they hurry. Crowley has Hamley and Orpana. Finds McGregor instead. Hayner says access denied. Jordan Hendricks crosses over mid-floor here on the blue carpet of Trojans Arena and leaves this for Perrant, who's got 2 goals so far in this game, including a dandy in that opening half. Perrant puts down the shoulder, cuts into the slot, tried to put the shot off, deflects off the defenders, and now DeBron gets run into on that end wall, and he'll be ginger to get up. Nate Woods from Storos leaves it there for Brady Kiernan. Kiernan looks to give this one back and does. That's Hannaran. Into the far corner, the Steelhawks try to go into the slot. Brady Kiernan has some space, takes the shot. This one whistles wide. Now, I thought that deflected off of the rafters, but they're going to say, no, it's Timberman ball on the over and back. So hunting this one down in the far corner is Fred Hartley. Hartley with the move. Hartley out in front. Coote with the nice stop. It's still loose in the crease. Coote eventually mousetraps it. So as I mentioned before, Milligan leading his team with 6 points so far in this game. Behind him, it's Zach Thompson, I should say, with 5 points, including 1 goal. Jeff McNulty has 4 points, including 1 goal. And as I mentioned, Sam Perrant has 2 goals so far in this game. As Hayner trying to shut down the door, the rebound's there, and he denies Osborne another opportunity, and McGregor missed the net. Osborne still has it for the Steelhawks. Osborne trying to get some separation away from Clint Lewis. Crosses this one over. Trying to make a move, I believe that's Luke Keenan. Keenan tried to fire this one low. Great defense shown by Stone Jacobs. Loose change into the far corner from McGregor, who's just going to throw this one over the boards. So the official with a fresh biscuit right out of the pocket, and we continue on the action here with 9:20 remaining in the third. Quinn Hyland, the only multi-goal scorer in this game so far by the Steelhawks. Single goals by Devin Pfeiffer, Brady Kiernan, Landon Sinfield, Cameron York, Nate Woods, Luke Keenan, and Owen Orpana. As Woods wanting this ball, he's not going to get it. He's going to head off to the bench instead. Boiseau to Brady Kiernan. No, I apologize. That's Pfeiffer. Devin Pfeiffer to Kiernan. Kiernan with the bouncer. Kick save by Hayner, and the rebound is caught by the stick. His defenseman helps him out to get it out of the danger zone. But Hendrick's pass is intercepted, and the Steelhawks take back over. An 11-11 game. Remember, the Timbermen had an 11-10 lead after the opening 30 minutes of play. Timbermen need a victory to come back into third place after starting this morning in third. What a goal over the top of Hayner. That's Brady Kiernan's second goal of the contest. It makes it a 12-11 game with 8:19 remaining here in the third. So the Steelhawks again with their .846 winning percentage, averaging 16.6 goals per game. They just scored their 12th right there. The second highest offense in the league coming into today's action with 216 goals forward, just 5 goals less than the Brampton Express did with their 221. Into the faceoff goes Perroni and Riley Morgan. Morgan wins it for Hendricks, but it's a pitchfork play that time from Devin Pfeiffer, but Pfeiffer couldn't grab the rock. Instead, Stone Jacobs provides a bit of a screen for Cam Milligan, who's already got 6 points in this game. Drops it back for Hartley. Hartley's shot hit traffic, though, and now turning the tide back the other way go the Steelhawks. Woods spinning off a defender. Woods trying to go to the short side. He's denied. Edwards, the defender, clears it out of harm's way to Gasparetti. Gasparetti crawling over mid-floor. Finds his teammate in Thompson. Thompson grabs some space. Shoulder shrugging this one away is Lucas Coote. Cameron York with an exit plan. I apologize, that's Crowley. Keegan Crowley with a looping pass, give and go with Brady Kiernan. Nope, that was McGregor, and here's Luke Keenan. Keenan back to the aforementioned Brady Kiernan. Back to Luke Keenan. Keenan takes the shot. This one misses. It's collected by Boiseau. He's hitting the small of the back. It jars the ball loose. They play hot lacrosse symphony, and then just sitting on the ball is Bafia. I don't think you're allowed to do that. And as a result, the officials wisely give the ball back to the Whitby Steelhawks. Now, Bafia had it, but he literally just clamped it underneath the sneaker and said, nah, nobody can have this thing. And again, you have your crew chief and Mac Abbott, Brad Fennell, and Sebastian Boudin are your 3 officials for today's game. Now, are they going to call a delay of game penalty against Bafia? As we get a pause in play with 7:10 remaining, the sin bin doors, though, remain closed. And we'll be back after this brief pause in action here in the Arena Lacrosse League. And Jonathan Urbanowicz will have his sports fun fact of the day. Welcome back to Children's Arena. It's a 12-11 game for the Steelhawks with 7:10 remaining here in the third. Your sports fun fact of the day is on this day, March 15th, 1934. That's 91 years ago. The original Ottawa Senators played their final home game before moving the franchise to St. Louis and being renamed the Eagles. Fans threw carrots, lemons, and oranges onto the ice during the game. And from 1903 to 1927, the Ottawa Senators would win 11 championships, including 4 Stanley Cups. They're one of the only teams to win every time they've been in the prestigious final. They went 4 times, they won 4 times. The Eagles, however, when they moved to St. Louis, would only last from 1934 to 1935. Why? Well, the team lost $70,000 on train costs and operation of travel back in the day. So RIP to the original Ottawa Senators on this day, and eventually, soon thereafter, the St. Louis Eagles. As Lucas Coop point blank denies Stone Jacobs, it's Osborne coming back the other way, transitioning for the Steelhawks, leaves it for Brady Kiernan. No, it's going to be the captain Osborne hanging on to it. Fresh from the bench, that's Sinfield to Brady Kiernan. Kiernan faking the shot into the far corner. Ripping on this one is McGregor. Great defense by the Timbermen. Sinfield, high slot. Sinfield with some space. Hayner spinning around 360 style, keeps this out. Fresh 20 put on the board, though, for the possession of the Steelhawks. Cameron York, short side, harassed just enough. And now a Timberman appears to be down. After making the play on Cameron York, he went down to the floor awkwardly. I think that's Osborne. The officials do call a brief pause here. And hobbling off to the bench is Edwards. It was an incredible defensive effort by Edwards that denied potentially the 13th goal of the game by the Steelhawks, but he definitely put his body on the line to make the play. And now it's the Curtis, Ontario native in Woods and his team trying to tie this crucial game up in the last game of their regular season, 12-12. In the slot, the ball pops up into the air, and they are going to say this grazed off of the rafters, giving the Steelhawks the biscuit. Woods, back the other way. Woods, shot is blocked by traffic. Gasparetti with his hand in the cookie jar, pries it loose, and now collecting it at mid-floor is Crowley. Now, I thought Crowley dunked that over his shoulder before going over the line, but according to the officials, they do call over and back, and the Timbermen take over down by 1. 5:10 remains here in the third frame. Milligan, already a 6-point campaign, looking for another goal, but a crease violation would have brought this one back regardless. DeBron, who leads his team in penalty minutes, crawls up the floor, puts on the brakes, and looks around at his options. Has Owen Orpana coming fresh off of Ryan Daggerton's bench. Orpana races down the right wing, looks around and surveys the situation, tried to cut back in, and has a massive hit laid back down on him. That was Angus Rodding, who does have a goal in this game after coming off of a 5-assist game, as Devin Pfeiffer scores. I believe that's Pfeiffer's second goal of the contest. Give him 31 on the year, leading his team in points with 89 and counting. The Oshawa, Ontario native came into this game averaging 6.6 points per game. So I beg your pardon, it's actually Pfeiffer's 4th point of the contest. That would mean the Oshawa native actually has 90 points now on the year. And he's 1 assist shy from collecting his 60th apple of the campaign. So Morgan and Boiseno battle it out, but the officials give the Timbermen the rock back, now down by 2. But this is a team that has battled time and time again here on your Saturday afternoon, coming off of an exciting 18-17 victory over the Toronto Monarchs. Osborne once again turns on the Jets. 3-on-1 for the Steelhawks. Osborne denied by Hayner. Rebounds there. Another flashy save. And trying to get Hayner while he's down is Highland on his keister. Hayner continues to keep the ball out. And that gets a round of applause from everybody here at Children's Arena. Not once, not twice, but as Mr. Burns would say, thrice. From his keister to keep it out and keep his team only down by 2. And again, for the Steelhawks, they've locked up first place. As much as you don't want to say this as an announcer, this is kind of a meaningless game for the boys in white. But it's the exact opposite for the Timbermen, as again, they started their morning off in 3rd place, now find themselves in 4th place after the Paris Riverwolves beat the Monarchs 11-10 earlier today. And with the Six Nations Snipers playing the Oswego Bears tomorrow, this is a pivotal time to score, and they do. Aaron Woods. Now, I believe that's his third goal of the game, but according to the official scorekeeper, that's his second marker. Regardless, it brings his team within one here with 3:40 remaining in the third. So you think about it, still over 18 minutes of lacrosse action left in regulation, but the way these two teams are playing right now, that might not be enough, as it is a 13-12 game. And I keep thinking back to that first frame. It was, oh no, right at mid-floor. Sinfield launched, I believe that's Rotting, into the boards awkwardly. The officials doing a good job of separating everybody, though, and making sure cooler heads will prevail. The training staff is out to see if Rotting's okay, who has temporarily dropped to a knee and taken off his helmet. A nasty, odd-angle collision. Sinfield should have let up. He knew he did the wrong, though, and he is trying to half-heartedly apologize right now to the Timbermen, but obviously they don't want to hear it. They're more concerned about their teammate in Angus Rotting. And as I mentioned, Rotting appears to be okay, gets onto his feet on his own accord, and the Children's Arena faithful applaud that with 3:33 left here in the third frame. For a guy like Angus Rotting, currently in this game with 2 points, including 1 goal and 1 assist, and as I mentioned before in the previous game, in that 18-17 victory, had 5 apples. But Sinfield, again, this is pivotal between the officials and Mac Abbott, your crew chief, Brad Fennell, and Sebastian Baudouin. Are they going to give Sinfield 2, or is he getting a 5-minute major? And remember, in lacrosse, a 5-minute major, you can score twice. So 13-12 is our score for the Whitby Steelhawks, but a pivotal power play coming up here for the Timbermen, and I believe being ejected from this game is Landon Sinfield. So after the officials had a bit of a conference at mid-floor, they have elected to give Sinfield the game misconduct, and he heads off to the locker room early. Landon Sinfield had 1 goal and 1 assist in this game, as Ryan Daggerton having a conversation with the crew chief and Mac Abbott on that far side of his bench. A 5-minute major put onto the board. So an opportunity not just to tie this game up, but to potentially take the lead back if you're the Timbermen, and what is technically a must-win if they want to see themselves finish the day the same way they started the day, and that was in 3rd place in the ALL East standings. Cam Milligan, remember, already leading the league right now with 13 power play goals after 2 power play goals already in this game. He's leading everybody on the floor in points, too, with 6 so far in this contest. Him and Thompson play pitch and catch. Now Milligan backtracks it to Woods. Woods to Thompson. Thompson with the shot. It deflects and they score! You can't blame Lucas Coote. The shot was going to his left. I think it hit a defender's stick and bounced to his right. And 17 seconds into the major penalty, we're all tied up at 13-13. Now again, Sinfield is given the game misconduct along with the 5-minute major. He's gone for the rest of this game. For the Timbermen, they can score 1 more time on the major penalty. What's interesting, and what I really never understood, is Sinfield isn't serving the penalty because he got kicked out. Even if the Timbermen score, his teammate in DeBron will serve the remaining time on the major, but there won't continue a man advantage on the floor, if that makes any sense. Essentially, you can score twice on the major, and that's about it in lacrosse. So under 3 to go in a 13-13 game. Woods had the real estate but missed it. This over and back goes right into the lap of Hayner. Hayner's going to scoot this into the corner where Whitby is going to, well, start this possession short-handed, if you will. And you'd imagine they're going to want to kill off as much of the time as they can. With 30-second shot onto the board, pretty much throwing this one into neutral right now is Luke Keenan. Keenan throws this across the floor. Devin Pfeiffer, who's being watched by Sands. Pfeiffer tries to cut into the slot. Pfeiffer not looking like in what he sees. Tried to backdoor a teammate and just missed him. As Stone Jacobs harassed Devin Pfeiffer just enough before trying to get that pass off to Luke Keenan. Now Thompson up the floor into that far corner. 3:40 remains on the 5-minute major. 2:12 remains here on the third frame. It's a 13-13 contest from Children's Arena between the Timbermen and the Steelhawks. Pitch and catch with Milligan and Thompson. Now a low shot from McNulty. That is stopped. Rebound cleared away by Boisano. Boisano short-handed against Milligan. Boisano trying to dance around Milligan. Will fake to give it back to Storos. Then takes a bouncer towards Hayner. It missed everything, though, and now Gasparetti and the Peterborough Timbermen will take over with a $1:50 left on the third period clock. So Milligan potentially looking for his third power play goal of the game. It would be his fourth goal of the contest, and this would be for the Peterborough, Ontario native, a guy that's got 96 points trying to make it to the century mark here in the final game of the regular season. Milligan grabs it in front of the net, and it's shoulder shrugged away by Lucas Coote. That might have been a situation that time for Cam Milligan where he got too close to the goaltender and the door of opportunity shut down a lot quicker than he thought. 1:13 remains here in the third. 2:38 remains on the major. I wonder, dare I say, if we're in the same situation a minute later, if the Timbermen will elect to pull their goaltender and try to go to 6-on-4. The loose change rolls over the wall here at Children's Arena, so a fortuitous bounce gives the Steelhawks the ball back in the final minute. Short-handed, Peroni tap dancing his way into the Timberman zone. Off to the far half wall to Liam Osborne. Osborne with 17 seconds left on possession. Peroni setting an illegal pick, and as a result, Jacobs will try and take advantage of it. Jacobs trying to go around Osborne, whistles this one just wide on Lucas Coote's left side. 41 seconds left on the clock. If the Timbermen fail to score in this third frame, they'll still have roughly a minute and a half of a man advantage to work with to start the fourth quarter. And here, short-handed, Luke Keenan has 18 seconds left on possession. Keenan to Devin Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer off-shouldering into the far corner, trying to avoid Gasparetti. Fed a pass to his teammate in Kiernan. Kiernan couldn't handle it right away, but got it back. Kiernan, short-handed. He is maraudered, though, enough that the ball goes, well, off of the far wall this time. As Hendricks and Kiernan, well, a little bit of chopping back and forth. So, Hayner stays in the net. Milligan with the long shot. The final second on the board drips off the clock. And after 45 minutes of lacrosse action from Oshawa, Ontario on your Saturday evening, 26 goals on the board. It's really settled nothing, folks. It's a 13-13 game as we're all tied up heading into the fourth. And I dare say potentially final frame because I feel a little bit of overtime cooking, but we'll see what the final 15 has in store. It's the fourth frame on tap from Oshawa, Ontario on your Saturday evening. The Timbermen and the Steelhawks locked up at 13 each after 45 minutes of action. The region of Durham exists on the lands of the Mississauga and Anishinaabe, inhabited for thousands of years prior to European colonization. These lands are the traditional and treaty territories of the nations covered under the Williams Treaties, including Mississauga of the Scugog Island First Nations, Alderville First Nation, Hiawatha First Nation, Curve Lake First Nations, and Chippewa Nations of the Georgina Islands, Bosolo, and Rama. We honor, recognize, and respect Indigenous peoples as the right holders and stewards of the lands and waters in which we have the privilege to live on. And as well as to enjoy the medicine game, and this has been one fantastic contest here live on YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Donald Beatty on camera, yours truly, Jonathan Urbanowicz on the call. Lucas Coote trying to stay undefeated in the regular season, entering with an 8-0-0 record. His team on a short-handed for 44 more seconds with a 5-minute major handed to Landon Sinfield in the later half of the third frame. Zach Thompson to a teammate. Milligan had a chance for goal number 4. He might have been harassed just enough by Nate Woods to deny it. So Thompson has a seam, crosses it over. That's Perrant, back to Thompson. Thompson shoots low, tried to go 5-hole on Coop, but the bridge door shut down. Now Boisano grabs a long distance pass. Huge save by Hayner, and he's ran into by his own teammate. Hayner had to dive to his left side to keep the biscuit out. Sands was backtracking and, well, inadvertently, maliciously ran over his goaltender, but Hayner appears to be okay. Hayner's taken a couple licks in this game. And now the Steelhawks with numbers. Soros goes in. Oh my word, Hayner says nah. Just waving the left hand that time. Taking a bit of a high slash this time is Hendricks. Hendricks keeps on ticking like a Seiko watch on Quinn Highland. Tracks it for Hartley. Hartley puts his head down. Hartley trying to spin off of the defender and Crowley. Hartley backdoors a teammate. And they're saying a crease violation on Milligan. That's two huge opportunities for Milligan in this fourth frame in a tied contest. Under 13 to go. 13-13 here in the fourth. The Steelhawks, another save by Hayner. This kid's gone into Picante mode. And if I was the Steelhawks, I'd start aiming anywhere other than that top left corner behind Hayner because he's had that locked down in this fourth frame. Now, crawling out from behind his cage, Owen Boyle scores! Boyle received the pass from Brady Kiernan behind Hayner. I don't know if Hayner was able to adjust to the angle in time, and as a result, Owen Boyle has made it a 14-13 game with 12:38 remaining in the hourglass. So the Steelhawks, no matter what happens here, folks, they've locked up number one in the ALL East. Even if Oshwegan wins tomorrow over the Snipers for only their third victory of the season, it will be 1 versus 8 to start the playoffs, so you can scribble in Steelhawks versus Bears already now on your calendar. The only thing that's not known, though, are the Timbermen. Again, they started the day off in third place. A Paris win over Toronto earlier today knocked them down to fourth. A Six Nations victory tomorrow could see them go further down the totem pole, but a victory puts them back in third place and locks them there for the postseason. Milligan, a bit of a foolish pass, intercepted by the Steelhawks. Piper in alone, hits the crossbar. Hayner might have just got a piece of it, enough to go off the top bar, and now Stone Jacobs, the Quebec native, crawls over mid-floor and gives it up to the captain in Milligan. Milligan, as I mentioned before, 96 points so far on the season, 4 away from the century mark, but he would take a victory over any of those personal stats, I'm sure. They're going to say this deflected, though, off of a Steelhawk, so no over and back, but the Thompson Timbermen are going to have to hurry this one up. They do! And we got a holding penalty coming up here. Man, oh man, Thompson threw it up the floor in a blink of an eye. Milligan found himself in front of the goaltender in Lucas Coote. But it's actually Milligan, I apologize, that's getting the penalty. So Milligan with the illegal hold on the defender to get himself free for that situation. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, folks. But a 14-13 game. Lucas Coote pointing out, I think somebody's mouth guard or a piece of equipment being picked up by Devin Pfeiffer off of the ground. So 11:31 remains in the hourglass. It's a 14-13 game, and now it is the Steelhawks looking to, well, increase their lead. Steelhawks averaging 16.6 goals per game. They got 14 on the board so far. Pfeiffer, nice pass, but not being able to pull the trigger right away with Hannaran. Osborne, back to Hannaran. Hannaran takes the shot and scores! Bewildered the defender in Bafia and went to hole number 5 on Hayner, and 22 seconds into the power play, Hannaran and the Steelhawks have made it a 15-13 game. Hard to believe Quinn Highland opened up the scoring, 41 seconds into the game. We've only had 27 more goals poured onto the board here at Children's Arena in the meantime. As now, Stone Jacobs has the ball play him. Devin Pfeiffer grabs the rock, has Goodchild. Pfeiffer hangs on to it though, lost it and got it back. Pfeiffer came into this period with 3 points, including 2 assists. As taking a bit of a hit up high was Cameron York, but he still makes the play to Owen Orpana. Orpana into that corner. 3 seconds left on possession. They score! Brady Kiernan with the hat trick. An odd angle shot bounces behind Hayner. And now the Steelhawks continue to roll here in the fourth frame. It's a 16-13 lead. They're starting to show why they're the number one team in the league. But don't touch that radio dial, as I used to say in a previous life here, folks, as this is a game that's proven time and time again that it ain't over till it's over. Several times in this contest, the Timbermen have gone on multiple goal runs, and, well, they're going to need one here in the fourth, folks, down by 3. So off of the face-off win, it's Lewis to Jacobs, his defensive partner. Milligan, a delayed penalty coming up to the Steelhawks. Hayner's going to race off to the bench. 15 seconds left on possession, 6-on-5 for the Timbermen, down by 3. Hartley back to Milligan. Milligan was trying to backdoor a teammate. It eluded, though, Jeff McNulty. And as the Steelhawks touch the biscuit, they will head off to the sin bin for 2 or less. It's DeBrone going off to serve the penalty. And again, it is another bench penalty, the second one of the game for the Steelhawks. And remember, the Steelhawks actually had a 2-goal lead prior to giving up a 5-minute major through Landon Sinfield. That allowed the door of opportunity for the Timbermen to crawl back and tie this thing up at 13-13. Well, now with a 16-13 lead, the Whitby Steelhawks once again open up that same door as they head off to the sin bin for 2 or less with 10-11 remaining here in the fourth. Milligan, by the way, was given an assist on that last goal, I should say. That's now 7 points in the game. He's got 97 points on the campaign, 3 away from the century mark, but 7 shy of Parker Pfeiffer, who, let's face it, should probably win the MVP of the ALL East. Thompson to Milligan, pitch and catch. Thompson trying to go low, shutting the drawbridge down, if you will, was Lucas Coote. Now Boisano trying to handle the bouncing rock into Timberman's zone, short-handed with $1:33 left on the power play for the visiting Peterborough Timbermen. 9:40 left on the clock. Hayner watches this one blow by him, but it misses his post to the left side. And as it ricocheted off the rafters, the Timbermen and Joe Sullivan's crew take back over. I'm sure you're going to see lots of Cam Milligan over the final 9 minutes and 26 seconds of this game. 7 points in this contest. Came into this game leading his team in assists with 64 and points with 90. Milligan's shot is denied by the defense. Perrant grabs the recycling. Thompson from Parent. He is denied. Boisano, once again, the ball just keeps on finding him as he'll crawl back up the floor. 50 seconds remains on the minor penalty towards the Steelhawks. Under 9 to go here on the hourglass from Children's Arena on your Saturday afternoon. Boisano avoiding Stone Jacobs and throwing it back to Keenan. Luke Keenan takes the shot. Nice stop by Hayner and his team on the power play. Race back up the floor. It's a 3-on-2 situation. Milligan trying to get around Nate Woods. The door was shut down by the Ottawa defender, and he'll give it back to Aaron Woods instead. So Aaron Woods looks back at the clock, feeds Perrant. Perrant back to Woods. Now it's Milligan, high slot. Tries to go behind the net, and they do. Woods, as the ball was deflected, only 5 seconds left on possession, going to have to fire somebody towards the net. Tried to backdoor McNulty, but the possession clock will go. And only 3 seconds left on the power play as Whitby takes over here. So as he picks up the ball, there was some tomfoolery going on in the near corner. I couldn't see it behind the crowd between Pfeiffer and McNulty. And as a result, it looks like McNulty is the lone culprit going off to the penalty box for a cross-checking penalty. There was only 3 seconds left on the Timberman power play. So as a result, up by 3. Not only up by 3, but 3 seconds away from going back to the power play are the Steelhawks. Out of the box is DeBrone, so it flips quickly. Now we get 5-on-4 in favor of the Steelhawks, who are up by 3, looking to put the nail in the coffin. Pfeiffer to Osborne. Shot hits off of traffic. Luke Keenan collects it in front of his bench. Feeds Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer looking to crawl in. Try to backdoor Luke Keenan. Keenan has to grab it off the wall. Keenan to Kiernan. Kiernan, whose name tag's ripping off the back of his jersey, puts a shot onto Hayner. It's in the knee pad, if you will. He settles it down for Bafia. 90 seconds left on the power play for the Steelhawks as Bafia crosses into the Whitby zone shorthanded. Bafia surveying the situation, being guarded here by Peroni. Bafia trying to avoid Peroni, now into the jaws of Jordan Storos. Now they tag team him along that far corner, and when 10 seconds left on possession, you have Aaron Woods trying to sift away for some loose change. Aaron Woods, great job. Takes the shot on the Lucas Coot, who does everything he can in his body language to keep that ball out. But what an individual effort that time from Aaron Woods. Recognized his teammate was being tag teamed along that far corner. Put his hand into the cookie jar, pulled out his snack, went right towards the net, and almost was able to capitalize. But instead, we remain a 16-13 game here. 101 remains on the power play, but the officials have given the goaltenders an H2O break. This looks like it'll be our final break, knock on wood, from Trojans Arena here on your Saturday afternoon. 7:15 remains here on the fourth quarter clock from Trojans Arena. With a 3-goal lead, the Steelhawks go back to a power play with 55 seconds left in it. Pfeiffer, after the officials' timeout to Goodchild, over to Orpana. Orpana shoots. Now, that had gone in, but they're saying McGregor was in the crease. That's the second time McGregor has taken away a goal from a teammate. Gasparetti to Milligan. Milligan back to Gasparetti in front of the net. Tries to go 5-0 and he scores! What a goal by Gasparetti. Faked high, went low and rippled to Twine. And short-handed brings his team within 2. What did I say earlier about not touching that radio dial? Yeah, I know we're in 2025. Don't touch that mouse and that keyboard, folks. Keep it locked here on YouTube. 6:53 left on the clock. It's a 16-14 game. And despite being short-handed, the Timbermen proudly pronounce, we're not going anywhere anytime soon. So Boisano and Morgan will battle it out at mid-floor. Morgan tries to shove this one back to a teammate, but it's Luke Keenan and too many white jerseys getting in the way to favor the Whitby Steelhawks. Brady Kiernan into the zone to Devin Pfeiffer. Liam Osborne, fresh off the bench, into the play. Brady Kiernan back to Pfeiffer, pitch and catch. Pfeiffer looking for real estate. Try to give it to that far side to Luke Keenan. Keenan has his stick slashed out of his hands, but Brady Kiernan got the ball back. Got it back to Luke Keenan. Keenan with the shot. Rebounds there, and they score! Cole Hannaran, his second goal of the game with only 4 seconds left on the power play. They restore their 3-goal lead with 6:19 remaining on the fourth quarter clock. Now, normally, this is the time of the game where I would say, oh, they're breaking out the nails of the coffin. They're trying to put the final pieces in, blah, 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 blah. Going off of how this game's gone so far, I'm just going to zip my mouth until about the final 30 seconds. So, a battle for the biscuit off of the face-off. It will be the Timbermen trying to control it. A little bit of a lacrosse stick symphony, if you will. And eventually, it's the Ottawa, Ontario native Nate Wood settling it down. 6 minutes remains on the clock. A 3-goal lead for the Whitby Steelhawks as Woods goes off to the bench after bouncing a pass to the near side to Devin Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer with all the pieces on the chessboard setting up. Pfeiffer around the defender. Pfeiffer goes in and scores! A highlight reel goal. Dipping and ducking his way around Jordan Hendricks. And Devin Pfeiffer with the hat trick and his 5th point of the game. That's 32 goals on the year for Devin Pfeiffer. He came into this contest with 86 points. He's now got 91 on the campaign. And my cameraman saying, hey, that might be the nails. But I just don't know. This is a Timberman squad that time and time again has scored in a hurry. But man, oh man, their biggest enemy right now is the clock. Boisano, charged with the infraction, will give the Timberman life back the other way. So Woods trying to get away from Goodchild. Woods looking to give this rock up to somebody, still hanging on to it. Tried to bounce it to Milligan, and then the ball stays loose. It's in the middle of the high slot. It's picked off. Hartley has it. Hartley tries to go in. Had Coots swimming around in his paint, but couldn't get the job done. Now Thompson rips this one into the rafters. Osborne for the Steelhawks just goes right in his shoulder into the defenseman. Hayner grabs the loose change. Hayner with a brilliant pass up the floor to Jacobs. Jacobs to Milligan. Milligan denied by Lucas Coote. Lucas Coote extra sharp on this last play. Again, he's looking to improve to a perfect 9-0-0 in the regular season. Stone Jacobs denied by the aforementioned Coote. And the Whitby goaltender watches Peroni pick this one up at mid-floor. 4:45 remains here in the fourth frame. And I think we're getting another bench penalty to the Whitby Steelhawks. That would be their third of the game, and all three occasions are when they're transitioning from defense to offense. So as I was saying, this game is somewhat of a must-win for the Timbermen if they want to lock into third place to end the regular season. This is a must-score power play. You're down by 4. There's 4:44 left on the fourth quarter clock. You need some momentum to build upon, and it's got to happen right now. Plenty of verbatim coming in from the sin bin, if you will. As you see some of the Timbermen talking to the lone Steelhawk in the penalty box. I always wanted to be a fly on the wall over there to actually know what they're saying. So the Timbermen go back to work on a power play. They've already capitalized a handful of times in this game. Thompson to Woods. Try to no-look this to Milligan. It goes off the boards and collected by Perron. He settles it down for the captain and Milligan with 4:22 remaining on the clock. Coote with another sharp save. Milligan with the rebound to his teammate. Back and forth. Coote says no. Now Perron's got to be careful. No, Perron, he had waited enough time for Gasparetti to get off of the floor, but the officials are saying the opposite. Perron thought about touching it right away, but he didn't. He purposely waited for Gasparetti to hop off the bench. Now, was Gasparetti fully to the bench would be the debate there, but his 1 foot was already behind the door. But regardless, after Whitby took a too many men on the floor penalty, the Timbermen take one 34 seconds later, and we go to 4-a-side lacrosse here with 4:10 remaining in the fourth in a 4-goal game. Hope you're enjoying your St. Patrick's Day weekend wherever you are tuning in here on YouTube. Donald Beatty on camera. Yours truly, Jonathan Urbanowicz, with the call. It's the final game of the regular season between these two teams, as Hayner stops this one with his left toe. 4-on-4 lacrosse. Back the other way, it's Bafia to Milligan, denied by Coote. And you know what? You could say this hasn't been the greatest game for Lucas Coote here in 2025, but he's stepped it up when it counts here in the fourth frame. He's made some incredible saves and denying the Timbermen any opportunity to hack into some momentum. Hartley trying to spin off Peroni. Feeds McNulty, who scores! A bouncer goes behind Lucas Coote with 3:39 left on the fourth quarter clock. The Timbermen draw themselves within 3. You'll still have 4-on-4 lacrosse for the next 55 seconds, and then it will be the Steelhawks enjoying a quick 34-second power play. And then, if all that boils off the clock, you'll have 3 minutes and 5 seconds of 5-on-5 lacrosse for the Timbermen down by 3 to go to work. So off of the faceoff win, Nate Woods goes into the zone. Nate Woods scores! Mere seconds after the Timbermen scored, Nate Woods responds in kind, and as a result, his team now has a 19-15 lead. I mentioned how the Timbermen averaged 14.2 goals per game. They got 15 on the board right now, but they only had a +2 goal differential coming into today's game. You have the Whitby Steelhawks averaging 16.6 goals per game. They got 19 on the board right now. Oh yeah, had a +65 goals against average coming in to today's game. So +63 in favor of Whitby if you're just going off of goals. Peroni denied by Hayner. And Hayner's made some classic saves in this game, but he's going to have to be an absolute brick wall in the final 3 minutes and 20 seconds of this one to give his team any chance. Woods looking around as the sea has calmed down a bit on the blue carpet. Milligan back to Woods. Woods denied on the high shot by Lucas Coote. Crowley from Storos crosses over mid-floor. Off for a change is Nate Woods. As Crowley looks around at his options, finds a teammate fresh off the bench this time in Hannaran. Hannaran with under 3 minutes to go. In front of the net, a no-looker that time from Brady Kieran is denied by Hayner, but the rebound bounced into the rafters, giving Whitby the ball back. 5 seconds left of 4-on-4 lacrosse, and then a 34-second man advantage for the Steelhawks. DeBrone back out of the box, into the bench. Owen Orpana comes out for a brief power play. Top of the world, Brady Kieran to Piper. Piper denied by Hayner. Hayner trying to go up the floor, and Sands took a hit from Brady Kieran just as he was collecting the pass from his goaltender. Piper rips this one, is denied by the right shoulder that time of Hayner. 10 seconds left on the power play. On the far half wall, Owen Orpana back to Kiernan. Brady Kiernan launches this one, another save from Hayner. Luke Keenan in front of his own bench. The penalty is over for the Timbermen. Back to even strength lacrosse. Kiernan to Piper. He loses it. Now Edwards trying to get this one out of harm's way for his goaltender and does. We're past the 2-minute warning from Children's Arena here on your Saturday night. Edwards watched fiercely by Osborne. Rolls this along the carpet to Milligan. I believe that's Parent on the far side. Already 2 goals in this game. Looking for number 3 here. And he scores! With a $1:43 left in the game. Parent gets the hat trick and draws his team within 3. But right now, time is of the essence for the Timbermen if they want to try and get back to 3rd place before the end of the night. What an interesting Saturday for the Timbermen. You start your morning off in 3rd place. The Paris Riverwolves end up beating the Toronto Monarchs 11-10. So as a result, the Paris Riverwolves leapfrog you into 3rd place. If the Timbermen were to win this game, they have the head-to-head over the Paris Riverwolves. They would get back into 3rd place. However, they're a $1.40 away from losing, and as a result, they would drop to 7-7. And you got to think the Six Nations Snipers play tomorrow with a chance to also get to 7-7. So the standings become a bit mind-boggling with a Timberman loss. Hayner, watched by Storos. Storos, though, they're going to say is getting the ball back via the official. A $1:20 left on the clock. Down by 3. The Timbermen need the ball back, and they need it back now. And you'd imagine when they do you debate pulling the goalie if you're Coach Sullivan? Brady Kiernan makes a move. Tried to lob the pass into the corner. Nobody home. Devin Pfeiffer goes after it. 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Under a minute to go here from Children's Arena on your Saturday night. Devin Pfeiffer scores! It took a half second for the official to make sure that no toes touched into the crease, but Brady Kiernan watches his teammate Devin Pfeiffer score his 4th goal of the game. What's interesting, Pfeiffer only scored 1 goal for his lone point in that 8-7 overtime loss in the last game for the Steelhawks. He came into this game with 29 goals and 57 assists and 86 points to lead his team in all of those categories. But as I mentioned, today, he really stepped it up for the Steelhawks when they needed him. He now has, 3 goals and 5 points. So in total, 91 points so far on the season. And I'll say it, Donald Beatty, that is the nail in the coffin. You know, only 36 goals put on the board here on your Saturday night. I hope you're a fan of offense, folks, and plenty of goals to look back and be fond on. Milligan and his Timbermen will fall to 7-7 on the season. And as a result, they will at least be in 4th place for now and could potentially drop down to 5th place, coupled with a Six Nations victory over the Bears tomorrow. By the way, that Six Nations Snipers Bears game tomorrow is the final game in the ALL East regular season standings. However, there's still a cornucopia, if you will, of ALL West games left to be played out in Langley, BC. As we enter the final seconds of play, the Whitby Steelhawks will prevail, and they'll advance to a 12-2 record in 2025. Steelhawks win. Steelhawks win. They pour on 20 goals on your Saturday night and improve to 12-2 to finish atop of the ALL East standings. For the Timbermen, they fall to 7-7. And remember, earlier today, the River Wolves beat the Monarchs by a score of 11-10, meaning that Paris leapfrogs them in the standings for a third-place finish. The Timbermen will do more scoreboard watching tomorrow as the Six Nations Snipers take on the Oswego Bears, with the Snipers now nipping on the Timbermen's heels. A huge game all around for the Steelhawks. Lucas Coote will finish the regular season a perfect 9-0-0. This is a guy that's won back-to-back ALL championships with Oshawa and Whitby, respectfully. You got to give a big shout-out, though, to Hayner, who had an excellent game. Yeah, he gave up the 20 goals on the board, but he had some highlight reel saves and kept his team in it for the most part. Cam Milligan finishes with 9 points here, folks. For Milligan, that's 99 points on the season. He hits the Wayne Gretzky mark, one shy of the century. And for the Whitby Steelhawks, they were led actually by Brady Kiernan with 7 points, including a hat trick, and Devin Pfeiffer, who ends up with 4 goals in this game. Pfeiffer ends up ending this campaign with 33 goals and 92 points. So for the rest of the Arena Lacrosse League crew from Oshawa, Ontario, we bid you adieu on your Saturday night. It's the Steelhawks prevailing 20-6 over the Peterborough Timbermen. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend.